Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lenka Gerzheva, and in the following presentation, I will introduce you the financial part of the call Excellent Research and its financial evaluation. First of all, let me introduce you the project budget. The call Excellent Research will not make use of the simplified reporting of total eligible project expenditure. Projects under this call will report the total eligible expenditure in the full reporting regime. Evaluation in Round 1 only concerns personal expenditure of members of the expert and administrative team. For the purposes of this presentation, other budget chapters will therefore not be further detailed. Eligible expenses of the project are gross wage, including statutory compensation, social security and health insurance deduction, sick leave paid by the employer, and other obligatory expenses such as social fund. Social security and health insurance deduction is calculated by the system in which the applicant creates the budget. It is therefore not necessary to recalculate them. The applicant creates the item sick leave paid by the employer only in the course of project implementation by transferring funds from the position concerned by the use of the sick leave. In the budget of the application for support, this item should be therefore zero. Possible procedures for determining salaries for workers involved in the implementation of operation program projects are given in the document List of Wages and Salaries. The applicants could determine the salaries using three possible procedures: using informational system for average earnings in Czech Republic, an alternative method of calculating the rate, and the use of limits in Chapter 1 for crucial workers. The applicant should himself specify in the application the procedure selected for each position. If no procedures is indicated, use will be made of the basic limits for workers of operation program under Chapter 1 of the document Rates of Wages and Salaries. The starting point for assessing the efficiency of salaries is consideration of rates usual at the given time and the given place, compliance with the organization's internal directive. If limits are exceeded, a proper and relevant justification must be presented. Wages or salaries for expert team should be also motivational and competitive, both nationally and internationally. Wages or salaries unreasonably exceeded the rates usual at the given time and place, which lack proper justification, will be considered inefficient and non-economical, even if they do not reach the limit specified in the document Rates of Wages and Salaries. The employees of the expert team who do not meet the definition of crucial or excellent employee should not deviate from the average wage, which is given in informational system for the most recent period. The upper limit are values in informational system for the third quartile, and at the same time the limit is 56,000 Czech crowns for full-time employment of 1 month, or 390 Czech crowns per hour. If the applicant chooses to determine the rate of salaries using an alternative method, the applicant must submit the application for support including the last annual gross salary, for example by means of account statements, payslips, etc. In this case, the applicant uses the formula: our wage is equal to the last annual gross salary divided by the 1,720. The annual gross salary cost must be equivalent to the position in the project and must be duly justified. The basic limit for FTE is 56,000 Czech crowns. For crucial workers, this limit is increased to 72,800 Czech crowns. For excellent workers, this limit is increased to 84,000 Czech crowns. Crucial workers of the project are considered to include those who are designated as such by the applicant and whose CV is submitted. Excellent workers are those whose involvement in the project and the benefits they provide are absolutely crucial, and without their participation it would in most cases be impossible to achieve the project objectives. These workers especially include leading experts in the field. Because of their importance for the realization of the project, it is necessary to reflect this in the wage or salary limit. Now I will introduce you the evaluation criteria which are relevant to the financial aspect of the call. As a part of the substantive evaluation, the financial aspects of the following combined criteria are evaluated: the adequacy and efficiency of payroll costs of the expert team and also of the administrative team, ambition of the amount of revenue from international grant competitions, the realism of the structure, character, and amount of other revenue with a view to achieving the project objectivities, general conditions for the eligibility of expenditure, and method of securing co-financing and the implementation stage. As a part of Criterion 6.1, the evaluator should get an answer to the following questions. To what extent do payroll costs of researchers in the expert team correspond to the needs of research objectivities, programs and activities, and achieving the project objectives during the implementation period? To what extent are payroll conditions of expert team researchers motivational with regard to national and international competition in the field of human resources for R&D? Account is also taken of whatever the payroll costs are proportionate to FTEs of expert team researchers during the implementation period with regard to the recruitment schedule of workers and starting their work. If the costs do not comply with 3E rule, the evaluator formulates a reservation and proposes budget cuts. Under Criterion 6.2, the evaluator assesses the extent to which payroll costs of the administrative team correspond to the needs and objectives of the project during the implementation period. Also, the evaluator shall take into account whether payroll costs are proportional to the FTEs of the administrative team during the implementation period with regard to the requirement schedule of workers and starting their work activities. It also assesses the extent to which the payroll conditions of the administrative team are motivational. In the costs do not comply with 3E, the evaluator formulates a reservation and proposes budget cuts. Under Criterion 6.3, assesses the extent to which the planned amount of revenue from international grant competition is realistic. Assuming that the amount of revenue is sufficiently realistic, assess the extent to which the value is ambitious. Consider the potential of the research team to obtain grant funding. Under Criterion 6.4, assesses the extent to which the planned amount of other revenue, excluding revenue from international grant competition, is realistic. Consider, having regard to information about the structure and nature of funding the research center in the past, to what extent the planned structure and nature of the revenue is realistic. In the Criterion General Condition for the eligibility of expenditure, assessment is made of whether or not the expenditure shown in the project budget is in accordance with the EU and Czech legislation, the general and specific rules for applicants and beneficiaries of this operation program, and the call, for example, whether or not the budget includes the ineligible expenditure. If the project budget contains expenditure that is not eligible, it is necessary to propose its removal from the budget. Under Criterion V7.2, assessment is made whether the applicant is able to meet the co-financial commitment. Evaluators may reduce the score of individual criteria. Any score reduction must be duly justified. If reducing budget items, not budget chapters, it is always necessary to specify whether you reduce unit price of the number of units. Evaluators may also remove the item. This step is taken in the case of ineligible expenditure or expenditure without any links to project activities. Detailed information on individual criteria, including scores, can be found in Annex 2, Evaluation Criteria. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention.